Hello, this is my Sova guide on Ascent. I'm actually pretty surprised that I didn't make one before. I've been playing Sova on Ascent since the game basically came out. So it's actually surprising that I actually haven't made a guide yet. As a result, my playbook is pretty extensive on Sova. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep things kind of basic, but still give you some really nice lineups and some really good ways to play with those. So the first thing we're going to look at is B defense, and I'm going to give you some really basic lineups that everyone, or a lot of people will use. And basically you want to go up to this wall and just aim at this corner, full charge, one bounce, and you should always get it into tiles, or not tiles, into B lobby. And the important part about this dart is that it reveals this corner and this corner, because you don't want to get it too shallow in, because if you have a teammate or if you're deciding to push this, these angles can be really threatening to you. So you want to make sure that you actually get it out into B lobby. You also get more info, you get tiles info as well. It's just really important to get your dart outside of B main nowadays, I think, instead of getting them inside. Obviously, contextually, there are times where you want to put your dart in B main, and there are plenty of mix-up darts like it, like this one. There's one over here as well, all on the windows, or on this window here. Honestly, if you can get it into B main and get the first scan off, it's probably completely fine. But yeah, that's kind of like B mains of darts. There's a shock as well, but I'll go over recons first. The next recon I'm going to show is if they come from market. If they're coming from market, you can do exactly the same position. And you just want to make sure that you can see this. Basically what we're looking for is we're looking to use this edge of the roof. And we're going to keep it level with this. So we're going to do this, right? This is where we're going to aim. We're going to do a full charge, one bounce.
Revealing area.
And it's going to land inside the curtain over here, or like this drape, whatever it's called, tarp. And what's going to happen is it's going to reveal all of market. And this is actually wallbangable from an Odin. So if you have an Odin, you can wallbang this and get 3 kills into market. So that's a really good dart to know. Basically you have both ways into B now covered with a dart. So let's talk about a cross map dart as well real quick for recon. So what we can do is we go into this corner, and we aim at this corner here on the roof. And just 3 bar, and that's it. I'm just going to go straight over to A main, or A site, and just help your teammates on A, basically. That's the main purpose of that dart. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Next we'll talk about shocks. So first of all, you can mix up. Actually, I'll talk about, sorry, there's a recon. You can do exactly the same recon from down here as well, that you know as well. You just aim at the bottom of the window, basically, or near the bottom of the window. You do the same with shocks as well. You can do exactly the same dart with shocks, just in case, like, you fancy causing a bit of problems with the enemy team. There's also a shock there. And there's also a double shock you can do too. You go over to this corner, and you go and place the A on charge on the lantern. You double bounce full charge. And then from the same corner, sorry, I don't want no clipped. From the same corner, you can see where it lands. From the same corner, you're going to aim at this edge of the island here. And it should land together. Obviously, I mistimed that slightly because I was explaining, but basically what you want to do to time it decently well is just wait for it to bounce, wait for a second, or like maybe 0.5 seconds. It should land fairly close together. And yeah, I used to get kills with this quite often when it was like non-nerfed shocks. Or like, not even kills, but like a lot of damage at least. But new shocks, it's a little bit less worth to do these double shocks, so I wouldn't do it too much. But yeah, it's nice to have it in your back pocket every so often. And the way that you sort of play B overall is that you generally want to have a sentinel with you, as it kind of allows you to anchor and play this position where you can spam. You can spam quite a lot through here and be very annoying to the enemy team in B main. Generally you want a sentinel to be defending you a tiny bit. Cypher trips, killjoy in general, turret, whatever, right? But the way you sort of path once you're like under pressure, you're going to be pathing backside most of the time. You can path over here to CT. Generally, you don't want to be doing this as much unless you have a good, like, solid way to retake, like a killjoy ult or something. Even then, that might not be necessarily particularly solid on B. But yeah, you do want to have like a post-plant plan if you're going to go CT. Otherwise, you are going to be running here. Look here, like people like Optic crashes, and OG crashes, like plays this situation, or I think there's another server player, I think Derek as well might do something similar to this. I can't quite remember. But they come backside and they fight it backside quite well. It's usually how they play it. There's also a dart you can do as well for the exact thing as well. So if they wait quite late and you still have dart, something, then you can do this start for your teammates to wallbang them. You can also wallbang them yourself too. There's also a post-plant dart I do as well. So yeah, this is pretty good generally. There's also one you can do from market, but I'll show you this one I'll show you it on post-plant. I think it's more relevant on post-plant than it is on defense, and that's kind of it for B. I haven't talked about drone, because drone is basically something you'll use when you don't have info. They're playing quite slowly, so you want to try and get that info. Just be careful where you're droning when that happens, right? You don't want to be droning like this if you think they could be B main, if you have no info in B main, because they could be right next to you, and then as soon as you drone, they run at you and you just die, and then that's a free side potentially for them. So you want to make sure that you drone in like a fairly safe position, but at the same time you want to make sure that you're getting the info you might need with the drone. And that's it. I'll talk about actual pathing on attack. So next we're going to talk about when I'm running out of B and running over to rotating to A. There are two darts that I know that are useful. So there's one that's a running dart over here. It's been a while since I've done this one, so I might fail it, but essentially what you want to do, this like lump on the cloud, you want to aim at the top of it. You want to run against the wall, and then you want to just do like a 3-bar basically when you get close to the edge of the wall. I think I actually missed it there, but it might actually be fine. Oh no, I got it. It should land on the wall. And yeah, that's it. Scans for A while you're rotating. So the important part is that you keep your momentum when you're running this way. So yeah, it's when you're charging up the dart, you run this way, you just keep the momentum. So you're over here on a faster base. It's a bit more efficient. There is a less efficient thing you can do, but it will kind of like help you get into garden if you want to go garden instead. What you can do is you can go up to this corner here, and this is more of a selfish version of this dart. You just you aim at exactly the same place, you run forward and 2-bar like this. And obviously because you're still running, you're going to be running this way at the same time, and it should land for you as you're like basically going to clear garden. So you can like fight someone garden, it might speed someone up to peak somewhere and get them killed on a mistiming. So yeah, this dart is pretty decent if you want to be taking garden. It sort of help your teammates not get flanked through garden as well if they're on like a really fast timing in garden. Okay, so next we're going to go over to mid actually. We'll go mid. So in mid, there are very few things I do in mid. I barely ever actually play mid, if possible, on Sova. So jump spotting is pretty obvious here. A lot of agents actually would do this if they play A. Oh, sorry, if they play mid. But yeah, it's basically how you play mid on some of these agents that don't really have any util that's like really important for them to be close, or like not exactly directly fighting for mid. And generally in Ascent, you're fighting for the mains rather than the mid, as much on defense at least. The dart that you would usually do on defense mid here, or on mid here, sorry, is going to be one on this wall. But the main purpose of this is that you would actually detect them front mid, I meant to say. So if they're running up short, then you'll hopefully tag them with this. Or if they're like kind of pushing into this sort of region, then you'll tag them with it as well. It's pretty good dart to use. You can do a dart for tiles here as well if your team. A lot of teammates will call for darts like tiles, will call for darts in mid. So if you think that's a good use of your dart for that round, you can do those darts completely fine. I don't have any special like darts for those. They're just that, right? There is one from B that's for tiles, but I don't remember it, so you may have to forgive me. I think it's this. This. Scanning ahead. Pretty sure. Yeah, it is. So yeah, that's one for tiles for B if you want it. It's not that great. You can use it as a shock as well. This is also a pretty good decent shock. A lot of people will like be in this area like when you play it, like if you shoot that off the start of the round. You can do that too. It's also in exactly the same place you're going to sit if you do basically a couple of the darts. So it's pretty good to do if you want to do that. Next we're going to go on to A. Actually we're going to short. So on short, there is like this Odin play that I learned from Kevin where you can run out. You basically like charge up the dart, put it there, and then you spray this before the dart lands. And then when the dart lands and scans, you'll be able to see anyone and be able to spray them, basically carry on the spray and spray them. So yeah, it's a really, really good play, I think, to mix up your play and to change where you're positioned. And really, it's really good when you've been using the Odin in B main originally, and then you can like swap it up the next round to this, and they'll be really confused. Especially because as well, if you just say to the killer to hold it solo too, and then there might even be like 4 players or like 3 players towards A, so they might even decide like even if because the Odin's here, they might decide to go A as well. So you'll be ready for like the A site as well. And if they decide to split up and go like tile sort of region for B, then you'll be able to catch that play too. So you're actually in a really good position here to like counter what they might try to do if you Odin in B main. The next thing is going to be if they actually go on to A site from short. I'll use this dart mainly. So it's just a dart here that lands like this, and it's just really easy to spray people through smoke once they get slammed by this. And it's not exactly the easiest dart to shoot either, because they're going to be like running it like this, right? And obviously if they're running it like this, it's really hard to shoot a dart behind you, especially when you're concerned with runouts here or other people on site if they're not fully dealt with yet. It can be really, really difficult to like turn around and shoot a dart for you. Especially, I mean, to be fair, if there's someone who's here, it's a little bit less problematic, but at the same time, they still are exposed to everything. So it's a really, really difficult dart for anyone to shoot enemy team. And that's kind of it, I think, from short. There is a different dart you can do in this hole, but I don't know it, so I'm not going to show it. And then we have A site. So on A site, there's not really a huge amount of darts I do. There is one where you can go, basically, I think it's anywhere on the light patch here. And you aim at, no, sorry, it's in the corner over here. And you basically put the, just watch what I'm doing with this corner here. I'm putting like this line on that corner. And then 2 bar. And it lands on this. So it just detects basically everything. I think against good players, I don't think this is going to get a scan, potentially. Even on the first one you fire it on. But I think against most players, it will get a scan on the first time it scans, the first time you fire it in a game or in a half. So next we'll talk about actually ones like on A site, because like for A main, because I don't really have anything once I'm on A site. I just kind of use my gun, or sometimes I like put a dart on the back wall or shock them when they come out and that kind of stuff. Other than that, like I'm basically playing from A main, and this is the obvious recon you can do through there. There's also a shock here as well, so you want to line up at the corner, and there's like a brick here, this brick that sticks out. So you want to aim at the corner of it like this. Double bounce, full charge, and it should land on this part of the wall. So if anyone tries to run out like this, they get shocked. It's very similar to like Haven Long A, what some people are starting to do now, where they bounce it off the wall, the back wall, and then it bounces into the doorway. Obviously it was mainly used, I think, for killing trips, but it is really good as well in general, just for like getting free shock damage too. And you can do the same here too. You can do the same on short. If you actually line up correctly. If you're actually better than me at the game, you probably would be able to do it. There you go. Perfect. And that's it for no, actually no, it's not it for A. For defense, sorry. We got retaking. We have also we have like running over to B from A. So if I'm playing short, usually I'm going to play short. I barely play main when I do those plays. But if it ends up being B, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a recon to move over to B sometimes. Basically, I'm going to go over to this corner, and I'm going to aim at this like section of the cloud where it's like this dark section. I'm just going to aim at this part. Then I'm going to run forward and jump and do 2 bar. Like this. I'm probably going to have all the same sort of input at the same time, and it's going to land here. What it does is, if an enemy is fighting like this, it's really hard for them to then justify shooting this dart. Mid-fight, it's quite hard, right? The support player can definitely get it, to be fair, someone like a bit further back, not fighting. But if that isn't possible, it's very, very annoying, and it's a lot of pressure put on not only the support player, but to put on the player fighting as well. Like, if they get scanned in this position, you can imagine your teammate backside is able to get like these sort of like fights where they can like shoot them through the wall. It's very, very difficult for the person on lane to actually get the kill, because they're getting like sprayed through the wall. It also means as well that if the support player doesn't shoot it, the support player, even the player that's firing, is also going to get shot from CT. I mean, fighting, not firing. Fighting is going to get shot from CT potentially if they're not deep enough. So into lane, so it can also force them to like kind of move into this fight, the support player, if they don't shoot it in time, because they're going to get spammed. So it's quite useful dart that I use quite a bit. When I'm actually retaking B, actually we'll talk about retake A first, and then we'll talk about retake B. So when I'm retaking A, actually, you know what, we'll stick to the order. We'll retake B. So retake B, there is this dart that I do normally. So this dart is like the main dart that I'm always going to do on the tree. Sometimes I'll do a main dart if I have like anything there's like more than one player there, or maybe there's 2 players there, or maybe just it's like the best piece of utility we have to potentially clear the main player out, and that's what I'll do. But other than that, I don't really do too much with the recons. There's also one more here for lane. There is also one with my ult. Sorry, I keep on saying I'm going to show on this, but I think this one's actually quite good to know. With my ult, so I'm going to just go to this corner. So one thing to note with ult, and I'll note this on attack as well, is that you want to be pretty far away from your target, because when you ult, you can see when I move it around that the ult nearest to me is traveling essentially less speed, like a lesser speed than the ult further away from me, right? Basically, it travels faster the further away I am from it when I'm turning. It's essentially, you see, it's like it's traveling through more of the map, right? I don't know exactly how to explain it properly. I think in League terms a lot easier, but not in Valorant terms as easy. But basically, you want to be like towards a max range of your ult. So being over here is quite good. So what I want to do is I want to do a double bounce and aim at the top left part of this window in full charge. Top left corner of the window in full charge. And it should land in the doorway like this. And it's going to scan in boathouse, or sorry, in back sight, or boathouse, whatever people call it. And it also scan default. And it will scan basically the majority of sight. And a lot of people don't expect this start. The only people that will expect this start is if they're still on like short. So if they're still on like path, what am I saying? They're still on lane. They might see the dart come in. So there is a chance that it will be shot by those players. But for the most part, most players aren't going to be looking there. They're not going to have it in their peripheral even. Because they're going to be not watching it, not watching any angles that will watch it. So this dart will come in at such a weird angle that a lot of people won't expect it. And then you can ult the planter. You can ult backside from this position, right? It's really, really strong. I like doing it when I've got my ult. And I'm retaking B. And that's kind of it for retaking B. There is obviously drones you can do from this position, and generally you're going to path on top of the roof and see everything on site. So you can fully clear sight for your team, and then you look lane, just in lane, great, perfect, you know. And then there is also shocks to cross as well. You can do the shocks very similar to what we did on short. You can also bounce them off the back wall as well. If you want to, just to like, obviously you do this while you're crossing, just for like efficiency, basically doing two things at once, kind of deal. And that's it for retaking B. So when we go over to retake A, so then we go over to retake A, sorry. So there's plenty of like little darts you can do. So on these cannons are quite good. Both cannons are good. You can also do one over here. So you go down the steps slightly. You just aim at this corner here. Sorry, I had to find it. It's like basically almost a right angle. It's very, very close. It's like just over a right angle, basically. It's like 95 degrees. And you just want to aim at this corner and 2 bar. And what will happen is it will go onto the back wall. This for main. So you'll be able to see all of main instead. You can do this not just for retaking, but it can be quite good for if you know they're going to play main. It can be quite nice to have that info. Very rarely do they shoot it as well. There is also another. Oh, actually, there is also another one you can do as well. For like front sight as well, for like actual sight. You just want to aim. You basically go in exactly the same place, more or less. You're just kind of going into like the light like panel here. And you want to aim at the top yellow mark here, 2 bar, and it should go onto the next wall, this wall down over here. So for sight instead of main. And then there is also shocks for it as well. So you want to go against the wall, and you want to make sure that this top yellow like mark is like basically against this bar like this. And then you want to just aim at the yellow mark, 1 bounce, 2 bar, and it lands gen. There's also this shock too. So what you want to do is you want to just crouch next to this window, aim at like this part of like the neck. I see this as like a neck. This is like a head, and then this is like a neck. Then you want to aim at the head, at the top of the neck, and 1 bounce full charge, and it lands gen. It's pretty good, pretty easy. I can free throw it sometimes as well, but obviously it's gonna clearly can't free throw it very well. But it is definitely way more consistent to do it the way I just explained it. There are some other recons you can do. Ones in between these two windows will land over here. It's pretty decent. And you can also do ones that are like door bounce over here, and they'll land underneath, and you can get spams. You can also do one like super close on the wall like this, and you can try and get spams through the floor. As you can see, it comes through over here. So if people are like trying to crouch and like dodge all the bullets, even like drone and things as well, you can still get wall banged through the wall. Through the floor. With normal guns, with Phantom, Vandal. You can do it with Odin as well. Obviously, if you can do it with the Phantom Vandal, you can do it with Odin too. Honestly, that's kind of it for retaking A. You can also do like a safe drone from back here. You want to make sure you're safe from wall bangs as well. As you can see, I am from back there. Generally, I'm going to be checking under if I think someone's under. If I don't think anyone's under, then the pathing is going to be more towards gen. It's going to be more top gen. Checking everything in gen and like this corner here. Pretty decent to have a drone here. Generally, you won't get that far, to be honest, but that's kind of how it goes. And that's kind of it for retaking A. There is also sometimes I'll ult from here as well. You can combine it with this running dart that I showed, where you can do this running dart and then you can ult off it basically. You can also do the same from this dart here. You just use that dart and run over here, and then you can do the same thing. It's going to be a bit later on obviously, and also you'll be very late to retake anyway there. But yeah, that's kind of it for defense. So we'll go on to attack. Okay, so on attack, we'll start off towards A, and I do a couple different darts. Well, not really. There's this main dart that I do. I do basically every game because it's just an easy dart to do. It comes over the top, and it's, even though it's slow, a lot of people don't shoot it. The way it comes in like just over the top. Sometimes people don't really shoot it very well. Obviously when they're waiting for it, they do. But yeah, scans everything. It even scans. It lands where it lands. It actually scans over here too. So if someone's peeking main, they'll actually see it off this dart too. So it's pretty good all-purpose kind of dart. Sometimes you'll have to drone from here. Kind of depends on what your team needs and like what's available to your team, utility-wise in the round. But generally droning further in is better. Does depend on obviously what you're doing the round as well. Obviously if you're rushing, probably better to just save your dart as well and go in, basically rush with this dart because it's just faster. And this dart is like probably the main dart that you'll do. Pretty easy. It does get shot fairly easily from like up here, but generally if you do it like towards here, it's like towards the first window, it's still gonna scam people gen as well, and it's gonna be a bit less shootable for people over here, right? Obviously they can be deeper like this, but yeah, they'll be in a bad position to shoot the dart as well if they're already fighting out like this. But yeah, that dart is one that I do every game without fail, multiple times a game. That's kind of how it goes. When it comes to like attacking shocks, you can do ones like this. So you can do one like this. Sometimes I'll do it on post plant. Sometimes I'll do it when we go into site. It just depends on what kind of pressure I need to get into site, or if I've got shocks left by post plant and that kind of stuff. The drone pathing for actually going into A site, if you want the drone at this point, obviously it probably gets killed fairly fast on A. It usually does for me. But this is the pathing you want. You want to make sure you're checking gen. You also check dice in the meantime, and you actually check this this part of under as well. You actually check like back there, because the way that the drone can see. I won't do it again. But yeah, you can see it anyway. Yeah, that's basically it for like how you go on to A. When it comes like to actually like defending the retake, sometimes I'll be under here, and if I'm under here, then I'm going to do a very similar dart to basically the flip version of what I would do up there. Put a recon there and I can fire through. You can also make this a shock, and as you see, the shock will hit in a very decent place. You can also aim right at the corner here and full charge, double bounce, and it will go a bit deeper and it go a bit higher in their face, which is pretty decent, pretty good, pretty hard to dodge as well, honestly. If they actually need especially if they're like under the clock, or like under the clock, if they're under time pressure, then it's going to be difficult for them to like feasibly properly like dodge this basically, because it's where it is. They'd have to like peek out to dodge it basically if they're really getting pushed for time. And then the other places I might retake from, or like play retake from, is gen. You can do recon like this, or you can do a recon that's like basically you just aim in the middle of this line and tap, and it goes onto this pillar, and it scans basically everyone like trying to push out. And then we play, sometimes I'll play from main as well, depends on obviously the amount of numbers of things. Once again, this dart works, and I don't tend to play like post plant lineups, but I do have one just in case. I'm pretty sure is this, and with the diamond and the explosion, there you go, lands on gen. That's pretty much it for A in general for when I attack. I've got a very small basic playbook when I play attack. Obviously I do have other extensions what I might do with my ult, etc. Like what darts, in particular darts I can do, where my darts land, maybe I one short or something as well. But yeah, that's basically my basic way of playing A. So next I'll talk about mid. I have one dart here that we can do, so it's this one. What I'm doing is I'm lining up down the wire with this as well. I've got a short on it as well. And that's the one I generally do when I'm going mid. I don't always do it, to be fair. If we're going to smoke this, I don't do it usually. I only do it if we haven't got if we're not going to have a smoke mid and we're going to try and fight front mid or something, and that's when I'll do it. There are also ones you can do basically all against the market wall if you want to do those. You can do one in market as well. The one in market isn't maybe not particularly useful because you don't really need a dart to know if someone's market or not. It's not really that useful of information at the start of the right at the start of the round anyway. It can be like mid round, so mid round this is maybe a decent dart that you want to throw on, like maybe your second dart. If you still haven't made that much ground yet, maybe, but I think overall it's probably not a great dart to use. I do use it sometimes, but it's not great. If we're going like up short, then I drone from here, and usually make sure I'm checking every single corner. And I usually path into garden instead of sight. The reason why is because I want to check these like sneaky corners for people that want to try and like hook versus me and then take a swing past the drone. That makes sense. Like a lot of people will. So when Sova's drone on this normally, usually they'll actually path like this. And what happens is if you path like this, then there's a decent chance that someone will like try and like sneak behind the drone and get kills that way. That actually does happen quite a bit at a time. So by pathing into garden, you kind of stop that from happening, or at least you're more aware of it. If they do like if they mistime the drone moving past, so it just stops them straight up from making that play. Sometimes as well, because they forced the drone. Sometimes. So yeah, that's kind of like how short we'll go. And then if I get to this point where taking it, I'm going to dart. You can bounce if you want to. Either one works. To just like clear most of sight. I usually bounce because it means we clear like the close gen angles of like this angle here. If we haven't cleared that already. So that's kind of how I take A from short. Going up mid, I don't tend to have anything crazy. Sometimes I'll put my dart like this, and sometimes it can get me a kill through a smoke over here. But other than that, not really too much to note. Sometimes I'll put my dart up here as well. If we're going into, if I haven't done that dart, the kill dart in mid, and then I'll do this dart for taking sight. It kind of depends on my team. Like if we don't have, like if I'm the only initiator, for instance, or if I'm the one that only has like, I'm the only person with like real info, then I won't be playing for as much for like these type of like kill darts. I'll try and get like general information type darts instead. That help my team. From Toz there's also this one as well, which is pretty bad because you don't really want to like peek it, but if it's not being peeked, or if your teammate's quite close or whatever, right, you can do that recon for. It's very similar to ever like putting like a flash through. You can also do like a jump one over here and things like that to just stop the enemy AWP from peeking it like this. Is also a possibility, or like someone crossing as well, crossing over here. Right here. If you want to smoke, if I want to recon top mid or bottom mid, sorry, the close mid, then from tiles, and also like if I want to go tiles for some reason, or like if I want to be closer to my team or something, then I can do the dart from here as well. It's obviously it's a bit weaker dart than the one from top mid you can do, but I mean it's not too bad. So fine. Next we'll go over onto B. So on B, the easiest dart to do from B lobby, B site is this one. Just get it onto the tree and it scans stairs. It scans all of B site. Really easy and really good. And there's also then this one in this corner. You just aim at the chimney basically, and it lands on the tree full charge. And you use this one for your ult because as you can see with the ult, it's towards the end of its like range. So it's going to be really easy for us to track people compared to like being super close, right? Next we're going to go on to a dart over here. And the dart is just aim at the giraffe's head and 3 bar. Scanning ahead. And it lands on this sign and it detects anyone logs. Easy and pretty good. And it also detects people in this corner as well. It is very shootable by them though, but they'll have to give away their position to do it. A shot you can do as well is from under this window. Aim at the bottom left of this bar, like this. And then you want to just jump tap. And it stairs, which is pretty cool. It's better than just like shocking this, which a lot of people will do. Better than shock. It's best to just shock stairs. Stairs is just a better place to have pressure in basically than market is. And that's kind of what I'll fire from B main. I will also then go over here and drone. Usually my drone will path this way and path on top of the roof so I can see everything. Basically everything I need to see. Pretty easy, pretty simple. If you have a killjoy ult and you don't need to really detect this part of the site, like A site, oh sorry, B site, You can just do this through the smoke, and you might be able to get some kills on people trying to spray you. As they'll be like probably, they might even be crouch spraying you like through the smoke. You might be able to get really simple kills on them because they're just being stupid basically, or just punishing them for trying to wallbang you. And that's kind of how I would like try and get onto the site. Next we have like post plant. So on post plant, I'm usually going to be playing the backside sort of region. We showed this one at the start, or I showed this one at the start. Pretty good. It scans everything from like from boathouse or like switch on boathouse switch, and like market run out, the CT run out. So you get a lot of wallbang kills from this position with that dart. There's also a dart here, so you want to go into this corner, aim at like this like curly thing here, like just above it, like this. One bounce, 3 bar I think, yeah 3 bar, and it hits the market run out basically. So if there's anyone in market, and they're trying, like you scan basically market with any of the darts, so you can do the one defense that I showed as well, or you can do this one, and then maybe like scan them, like trying to run out, or like something like this, right, and then just try to run away. Maybe it's a Rainer that got killed, dismissed, and you saw them on the scan. And you can do this dart preemptively, so when they try to come out again, they get shot. Pretty good. It's usually like that's pretty much the extent of it. Sometimes I'll have drone left. Say if we rushed, I probably wouldn't have used drone by this point. But using drone here when they like start to come out can be quite strong. You can delay them, and you can get like once again you can get a tag here, and then they're trying to hide. They've got nowhere to hide boathouse, so you can try and get a wallbang on them. It's pretty good, pretty easy, honestly. Game plan wise for you, backside Sova, there are obviously plenty of other darts you can do. There's some darts if you want to go aggressive, you can do ones over here. But there are some lineups I have for like some shocks, some double shocks and things. I don't think they really fit into the scope of the video. So yeah, this is like kind of like a basic guide on Sova. For the most part, I think it covers like general things that you probably are going to encounter on either game by game, or you're going to encounter every couple games on Ascent. So yeah, this is hopefully a good enough guide for you to get started on Sova, or to extend your playbook on Sova, or to help build up your like foundation of your playbook on Sova. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next one.